Welcome, folks, to our Chitty Opinion Sports Edition, where we are doing some brief futures profiles on the top draft picks, maybe? I guess you could call them, the top draft picks of the 2026 NFL Draft. These are the players that are most likely going to go in the first two rounds. So this week we are doing, or I am doing, tight ends. So there are three on the docket, and let's get it. These are brief. These are nothing special. Like I said, these are like, if you are unfamiliar with whoever, then hopefully we can make you quickly familiar with who they might be. So we're going to start off with Kenyon Sadiq of Oregon. He is 6'3", 245, runs about 4.5 40. He had 51 receptions for 560 yards, 11 yards average per reception, and 8 touchdowns. He's a pretty sizable guy, if you couldn't tell from that photo. I think he's probably maybe an inch or two shorter than what I would consider a solid, quintessential lab-built tight end, but he's got that at 6'3" and 245. He's definitely got the size for his height and his frame, which would work well for him. He is great. He's a great runner, as you can see in these highlights. Great runner with the ball. He's athletic, so he can move pretty well for a guy his size, and he can block, which is key. So he's probably the best overall tight end in this draft. The catch, move around, and actually block, which seems to be something that's lacking in a lot of tight ends. But I guess that now it depends on what it is that teams are looking for. And he can pretty much line up anywhere. So you can put him out. You saw the first highlight, I believe he was lined up on the outside in the X position. He can line up anywhere. You can use him as a wide. He kind of reminds me of Gronk without the solid route running. I mean, in all reality, your tight end needs to get into the middle of the field and get in the outside. 7 yards downfield and 7 yards inside. So, but if he could do more, you're obviously going to want him to do more. If they can be crazy, he can do crazy. So, but he does have some drop problems. He's, inconsistent, obviously, with catching. And his route running, he's still got to learn. But these are stuff you can work on and improve upon, when you get drafted and you have different coaches and more experienced coaches helping you out. So, I think overall, if you are a team, your team is looking for someone who can catch the ball, block, and just be an overall take the edge for the run and whatever, or be a nice decoy, this is probably the tight end for you. I don't even know many teams that look specifically for tight ends. It's kind of one of those things where, like when Tyler Warner was taken last year and from the Colts, and they already had a couple receivers, this is like the last one that you need type of deal, And this year's wide receiver class is heavy, so I don't know where he will necessarily go with that thrown in the mix as well. But if you think your team is in need and is looking for a tight end, then the year we're going to go over and see what teams might need what and see who can go where and possibility and all sorts of fun stuff. But hopefully this will give you a brief overview of who he was, who he is, and if your team picks him, you're not sure, you can find plenty of highlights. Well, not plenty, but you can find highlights online. But we also covered tight ends this week. We got running backs, wide receivers, and we did quarterbacks so far. So if you want to check those out as well, like I said, everything's here is pretty brief. My opinion, without my partner in crime, it's kind of hard to go back and forth with anybody what we think. But I think this guy is great overall, tight end personally. And if I was to pick a quintessential tight end in the draft, it would be this guy and possibly the next guy we're going to cover, which is Max Clare. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, folks. Until next time, we'll see you later.